Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the book The Prisoners of Time by Joe Denver. It's the 11th book in the Lone Wolf series that we've been taking a deep dive into. This series started getting published in the mid-'80s with the first book, Flight from the Dark, and then it finished up in the late 90s with book 29. Although there were planned a few more books, he wanted to finish the series at 32. It's one of the best-selling game books of all time. One of the things that makes this game book series different is that it's the first game book series where there's just one central plot, one central character, and you're telling a chapter in an overarching storyline as a part of this overarching story. So now we're in chapter 11 of and this is the penultimate chapter in the Magna Chi series that started in book 6 and will end it next book in the Masters of Darkness in book 12. So anyway, you keep your items that you find, you keep your skills that you started with, and you add one more skill for each book that you complete. You keep your gold, you keep your endurance points and your combat skill, and those will rise over time as you add skills and add collections of skills and add items. For example, there's armor that you can find that will add increase your endurance points. For example, you play a psychic ranger. Some of these skills, like on the psychic side of things, are like the mind blast to attack others, mind shield to protect yourself from mental attacks, mind over matter to move things telekinetically, and then sixth sense to attack things with your senses, ESP, and then the ranger things are things like tracking and hunting and camouflage and weapon skill and those sorts of things. So those are how you have sort of a ranger and a psychic person in the same place and time. So you are starting off. You are the last of the Kai in the first book that starts off Flight from the Dark. You are attacked by the Dark Lords of Helldegad in an ambush on your people when they were all gathering for a feast, and you are killed. And so in the first book, you have to go and find the king in the country of your homeland that's now been assaulted, and let them know what's happening. In the second book, they find out what's happening. All the Kai have died. So now they're sending you to go get an item that will help to save your nation called the Summer Sword, which is a very powerful artifact level piece of weapon, sword that you'll now be using moving forward. In the third book, the traitor Vonatar, who betrayed you and helped lead the way for the ambushes that attacked, he has fled to the icy wastelands of Cult. So you're going to go track him down and bring him back to justice. In the fourth book, some royal guard have gone missing in the southern part of your nation, so you're going to go track them down. And then when you find out what's happening, then you got to stop the bad stuff that's happening. In book 5, you start off as a peace envoy for the country of Vasagonia, which you find out is actually a trap to try to take you out. And then you got to survive the trap, and then you find out about the Book of the Magna Chi, which is the second level of the Chi Order. You start as a Chi Lord, and then you move to the Magna Chi. But without anybody to teach you, you would be the last of the Order. But now that the Book of the Magna Chi has been found, you can go get it and bring it back, and now you can start a new Chi Order after you've secured the Magna Chi mastery. So that's sort of the second level that we're now starting. 3 years have passed between books 5 and 6, and now you've read the book, you've absorbed all the knowledge. You start with 3 skills, and now starting with book 6, the Kingdoms of Terror, you're now trying to track down these lore stones, these divine things of wisdom that have happened. Now, in book 6, you'll find out that the first lore stone that you'll track down is the lore stone of Veretta in the Stormlands. In the 7th book, you're going to this big giant stronghold that's being kept away, called Castle Death. And so that one is a dungeon crawl, and it's my least favorite one in the series for that reason. Number 8, you're going to a Daziern, a jungle swampish type area to find that lore stone. In book 9, you're going to the besieged city of Tahoe into its underground and trying to find that lore stone. And then in book 10, the Dungeons of Torgar, you find out that the last 3 lore stones have been captured by the big bads. So you got to go penetrate them and to penetrate the city of Torgar, which is controlled by the bads, the Dark Lords, and you find the 3 lore stones. You find 1, the other 2 are sent to the Daziern, the Shadow Plane, which you are also sent to too. And this book now tells of your journey, and you find the other 2 lore stones. And that's basically what's been happening so far, and to keep you up to speed. So you'll find the other 2 lore stones in this novel. Now, this novel One of the cool things that's very impactful on this stuff is that this stuff impacted a lot of people in a lot of different ways, including me. I have not only included this in my own top 10 most influential fantasy works in my own personal history, in my appendix and video, which I'll link to you in the comments below, but I also wrote a game book. Based on influenced by how much I enjoyed these game books when I started reading them in grade school, in 4th grade, from my local Walden Books. So I've really enjoyed that sort of thing. I picked it up and really read it, and I enjoyed it, and it definitely things. And I go back to it probably every 6 or 7 years. The first 5 books in this series were recently republished as a definitive edition, so I picked them up from Magnum Unpressed over in the UK, and I knocked them out. Now I'm still in the mood to read the next of the series, so I'm just following it up. But eventually these will be printed in hardcover in a definitive edition for you to read, and that's actually pretty nice. You can also read this free online on a website called projectaeon.com, which is, I'll also link you to in the comments below, is a free place for you to review it. As a millennial gift, after all those game books had sold and all the money had been made, the guy who created it, Joe Dever, he gave all of his IP to the fans, and so there's now a fan-created website where you can just go and read this novel for free without paying anything as a gift. Although I still continue to try to buy things here and there as a thank you for that gift, and I'll try to buy definitive editions here and there and those sorts of things, right? I also buy the new books that are published by Joe Dever and his son Ben after he died a few years ago, has picked up. So there you are. So that is The Lone Wolf, The Prisoners of Time. This is the adventure in the Daziarn plane through a shadow gate. And you're going to find yourself around. Now, starting in book 5, Joe Dever figured out to write in more difficult combats if you have the Summer Sword. And he does that in the previous book, book 10, with 2 major combats, where you fight people that have a 40 combat skill. And as an example, I started with a 16 combat skill. So with 8 from the Summer Sword, and then, my combat, my silver helmet, and my shield to add +4. And then, my weapons mastery that gives me +3, and then, Psi Surge that gives me +6, but I lose an adjustment every turn. All those bonuses, I'm still fighting at like a -6, combat ratio. So that's pretty cool. And so there are 2 of those in the previous novel. In this one, this novel is famous for having a major fight if you have the Summer Sword against the guy with the 44 combat skill, which is even harder. It's called against the Chaos Lord, against the God, the Chaos Master. So that's very, very famous for having a very difficult. If you have the Summer Sword and done the basic plot, it's still doable. There's an item that you can grab called Aether, which will increase your combat skill by 2 if you drink it ahead of time. It's like a potion that'll increase your prowess. That'll help you. I also got 3 extra combat skill going into this because I had completed the Lore of the Spirit just beforehand, which was the 4 psychic skills. So that gives you +3 combat skill and +3 endurance when you complete it. So I got 3 extra combat skill going into this one to help me out too. That I finished right before, because now that I've gone through it and I've read it a few times, I know where the hard things are, what to do ahead of time, what to save. But yeah, it's a hard battle. But here you are. It's also got a couple of the ones near the end too that are not easy either. That are harder, but they're not Chaos Master level of hard. But there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read The Prisoners of Time? Any version, the collector's edition, the version online, the softcover version, like me? If so, I would be more than happy to talk with you further about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hey, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it in watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.